Hey guys, welcome back. Thanks for tuning in. For those of you who are new, welcome. Hope you enjoy. Listen guys, what are the kind of effects and how much are sons affected by their fathers? And the thing is that almost everything a father does is going to affect his son. You see, as I've said in my past videos, guys, the father is always going to be the foundation of the family. He's the rule maker, and he's also the rule enforcer. And everybody goes by his example. Right? Unfortunately, most of us didn't grow up with that kind of father. Right? We didn't have the privilege of growing up or being born in that kind of family. Right? Myself included. You see, my mother, she's on her third marriage. You would assume that she would have given up after the second one. No, but I guess she's a firm believer in 3 times the charm, huh? Third time's the charm, excuse me. Listen, boys. The first memory that I have ever is my father overdosing on drugs. Now, often what he would do is he would take us to people's places, strangers, and he would tell them that we were his nephews so he could get more drugs. He's very abusive. I remember that. You know, some things you really shouldn't remember, you know. Some things, and it's not usual for someone to remember something earlier than their first year. But I remember that. I was very, very, very young. And, you know, sometimes that does fuck me up to this day. Right? Now I'm over most of my shit, but, you know, obviously there are some things you can't get over or is very difficult to get over. You know, I'm still struggling with, you know, PTSD from my time in service. But I'll get to that in a little bit. You see, guys, this is just part of what I was talking about, right? You have, when you have a father that teaches you or doesn't teach you, obviously that's going to determine which direction you go in, right? And, you know, I had only known what it was like I had only known what a bad father was because my mother's second marriage, you know, he was a piece of shit. He really was. Now he did have his moments, right, when he was good, right? And I would say for quite a bit of the marriage, you know, there was some guidance, there was some aspect of I guess a father figure, right? And he did have a full-time job. He did provide as much as he could, I guess. But he turned into a piece of shit. You know? And But it still beats it still beats that there wasn't a father, and that's what a lot of people grow up with, right? And a lot of men become confused because they don't have that father figure, right? The best father figure that I had around was my grandfather, and I didn't really get to see him a whole lot throughout my life. And some of the best advice that I ever got was through him. He was one of the reasons why I joined the military to begin with. And I ended up following some of his advice. But other than that, I didn't really have much of a father figure growing up. And it really started affecting me as I got older, right? Because the older you get, the more you really understand just how the world is. And I saw how my mother suffered day in and day out. I saw how my brother was being affected by it. And I saw how, he would drink and he would often pass out. And that shit really does something to you, as young as I was, I knew that wasn't right. I knew that's not how a man should act, how a father, how a husband should act. Right? He should be engaged with the family. And he should be setting that example, and that's not what was happening. Instead, what he was doing was he was showing how not to be. But what do you do when no one shows you what to be? You got to figure that shit out yourself. And this is what a lot of men are struggling with, is finding information on how to behave, on how to act, what examples to set. And that information's hard to find too, because you have channels like this, and you've got channels like An Ear for Men, and you have other channels like Legion of Men, that really get into the meat and potatoes of everything. But oftentimes their channels are suppressed, right? Because it's information that actually helps men instead of puts men down and only to uplift women. Well, I'm not going to go ahead and rant. But what I will say is that oftentimes you see a lot of men growing up exactly like their father. Growing up to be exactly like their father. I don't handle confrontation well. I really don't. I get way too aggressive. Way too aggressive. Things just fucking trigger me, and a lot of that is to do with the military, which, I am working on, but, when you're in such a heightened emotional and alert state, where your blood is pumping, your heart's racing, and you almost see red, it's hard to take a fucking moment and just step back. You know what I'm saying? I'm getting a little passionate here. It's extremely hard to take that moment and just walk away. And that's the kind of effect that fathers can have on their sons, right? And some of these situations are even worse, And boys, look, if your father was a drunk, drinking isn't going to fix anything. It only temporarily makes you forget about your problems. Just like adult entertainment, just like video games, right? Or other vice that you use. That's why healthy coping mechanisms work. You know, learn how to play music, learn how to draw, learn how to paint. You know, go on a hike, go for a walk, just go touch grass. Just go outside. You know, go do something healthy, something that makes you think, something that makes you think about what you want out of life and the kind of man, kind of father that you want to be for your son. Look, if you've never asked yourself that, you have to ask yourself that. If you're a father now and you haven't asked yourself that, you're already behind the game, bud. You got to speed it up. You know, you got to ask yourself, what kind of father do you want to be? And I'm sure that there are men out there that found out that their girl was going to have a baby, that they were going to have a baby, and all kinds of things were running through their heads just like this. What kind of father do I want to be? You know? What kind of things am I going to teach my son? I'm telling you, man, the stuff that you instill into your son will either make or break that kid. You know, some of us failed without even starting. Failed before we were born, man. And that's because of the fucking life that we were born into. That shit's heartbreaking, dude. That's really heartbreaking. The only thing that you can really do is work on yourself, right? And make yourself the best man that you can be, right? So that you can be the best father that you can be. That's what really matters, boys. Don't end up a drunk. Don't rely on drugs. We see that way too often. You know, and a lot of men struggle with, you know, certain entertainment. You know what I mean? You know, I was exposed to that, 12, I think? You know, my mom's second husband came to me and showed me a nudie picture. You know, and at the time I was like, wow, this is great! This is amazing! Boobies! You know, just... And then later I think about the overall picture of it all. And it's really messed up, man. You know? Why couldn't I just be a kid? You know? Why couldn't you just let me play in the backyard? Why did you have to come to me and show me that? At such an early age. You know, and because of the exposure to it at such an early age, that really affects men, dude. Obviously, because we have the drive to procreate, right? We're the ones that approach. We're the ones that have that drive. Man, that testosterone is a fucking chemical, man. You know, it's that itch you get, you know, just... Then people extort that. People use that for all kinds of things, man. In all kinds of ways, dude. And you know, that's why we see OnlyFans, you know, and the Hub so popular. It's because they're exploiting that drive in men. And it's sickening, man. It's sick. It should be done away with. Really should be. It's really messing men up, dude. But it's also the fathers, too, for showing them this shit. Now, there was a point in time when, you know, they tried to stop me, you know, from using it when I got a little bit older. But you exposed me to it yourself. And now you're trying to stop it? Listen, you cannot take back what has been done. And that's for anything, boys. What you can do is you can try to guide in the right direction and understand, have your son understand that you made a mistake. And that you're going to do everything that you can to correct it. And that there is love, there's guidance, encouragement, right? To the right path. But there's just not enough of it today. So my hope is that this channel can be that for you. That's my honest hope, boys. Because there's not a lot of men out there that have this. I'm so passionate about having something like this for you guys, you know, where we come together and we uplift each other. Man, because this world, this nation in particular, Western culture, has beaten us down for so fucking long. I'm tired of it. I'm extremely tired of it, so I'm speaking out about it. So, boys, I want you to join me. And I want you to group up with me, guys. Look, because there needs to be something. Something needs to be done. And I'll speak for you as much as I can. Right? But I need that support from you, okay? So, if this information helped you out even a little bit, please like and subscribe. YouTube really cares about that stuff. Also, comment as well. Not just because YouTube cares about it, right? But I honestly really want to hear what you guys are thinking, what's on your minds. And if you'd like me to talk about something else, please let me know. Okay? I'm a little bit over time. I try to keep these videos about 10-15 minutes long. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up here, boys. I appreciate you guys tuning in. Boys, take care of yourselves, okay? And take care of each other. You know, we don't have it all figured out, so let's figure it out together, all right? That being said, thank you guys again, and I'll talk to you soon.